I've heard the argument, and please disabuse me of this if this is wrong, that Iran did this because they had to do something, but they kind of tipped us off and everyone off, and they say, hey, we're going to launch 300 missiles, you shoot them out of the sky so we can tell our people we responded to the attack, and nothing bad will happen and we won't escalate this. Is it that, or is it much more sinister than that from Iran?
We don't really know. It could be that. That is what happened after President Trump took out Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Remember, the Iranians launched a bunch of cruise missiles at American bases, but they didn't kill anybody. They caused some head injuries and concussions and things like that, but nobody died. And that probably was a strategic calculation by the Iranians not to actually threaten the lives of American soldiers, which would have required a response from Trump. But we don't know. It could be a much more dangerous chess game now where Iran certainly is telling its own people that they were able to attack Israel with impunity. And I don't know, since the Iranian state media are so totally controlled by the theocracy that runs that country, I don't even know if Iranians know the reality of what happened. Although I think Iranians don't trust their government at all now, so they know now that if the Iranian regime tells them something, the truth is more likely to be the opposite. But we just don't know. And the Israeli cabinet, or more precisely the war cabinet, the select group of ministers that makes decisions about what to do during the war, they met today, or yesterday, I suppose, in American time, and they appeared to be divided, according to media reports, however far you can trust media reports, but they appear to be divided, and they have not really figured out what to do. And some are favoring a more aggressive response, others less so. So we really just don't know where this is going.
Well, that's my last question for you. I know you got to run, but what to do next, and what is America's role? I know the Biden administration, a lot of stuff has leaked out that we want nothing to do with any sort of retaliation from this point forward. How much patience is there in Israel right now for this?
A lot of patience. I mean, people on the one hand feel like they want to get rid of Hamas in Gaza. They're upset that they haven't really been allowed to do that. And they want to finish the job in Gaza, get rid of Hamas, end that part of the war, and turn their attention elsewhere. I've just been in the north, near the Lebanese border, to the communities that have been evacuated there because of all the Hezbollah rockets and missiles that are being fired. And Israelis would like to solve the problem of Hezbollah. They would like to deal with the fact that there are 60,000 Israelis displaced from the northern communities, in addition to the tens of thousands that have been displaced from the communities around Gaza. People want to go home. And it's not sustainable to have this entire region of Israel along the northern border simply empty. So there's that. But also there's a sense of elation that Israel survived this long-feared attack by Iran, and nothing really happened. You know, they got through it, and their defenses held up, and maybe it is okay just to let it sit and not to do anything more. That's how some people are feeling.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, Joel, appreciate you being there, and for all your coverage on Breitbart.com, of course. Thank you, brother. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. I mean, do you think it could be that first thing? The first thing that I've heard, that it's like, okay, so Israel killed some generals. It's a big attack on them. And Iran's like, okay, well, obviously we have to do something back, but we also don't want to escalate beyond anything bad, right? But we got to do something. So, hey, America, we're going to launch a couple missiles and just shoot them out of the sky so we can tell our people we did something. But obviously this won't be escalated. Could be that. Or it's like, oh no, this is the beginning of World War III. I don't know. This is a person who, I don't know, smart, I guess. I don't know. Joel Rayburn. He's at the Hoover Institute. He said, so he thinks that this is a more of an intentional escalation and that this could trigger worse things. As opposed to what Joel just said there, which is maybe Israel's like, you know what, maybe we'll just call it a day. We'll just call it even Steven here, and we can focus on Gaza. So Joel Rayburn, for what it's worth, said, add to the picture that the Iranians seized a vessel in the Strait of Hormuz yesterday. I interpret this as an Iranian threat to the Europeans and the U.S. that they're willing to shut the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea if the clashes escalate. He said the Israelis and the U.S. will now have to calculate that if there isn't a sharp response to tonight's attack, then the Iranians will be emboldened to do worse in the future. So do you think Iran wants to keep doing more of this? Or were they just retaliating and now they're done too, at least for now, right? Until the next time, right? Until the next reason to. He says the Iranian regime leader who is directing all this is a demented 85-year-old who wants to see his regime defeat Israel. See, this to me is a compelling argument. Because one of the rational thoughts that people have when thinking about foreign policy is this idea that that state wants to survive. They want to stay in power. And obviously, if you're Iran going against America, you're not going to win. So we're just going to kill you. So why would you embark on that, right? So a mutually assured destruction deterrent. I think we all think that, at least knee-jerk. But then you're like, oh, the leader of Iran's a demented 85-year-old. So he doesn't have much time left anyway, who wants to see his regime defeat Israel and the U.S. before he dies and is willing to take reckless steps to bring that about. Potential for him and his ideologue generals to miscalculate is very high. Perhaps. I think a good rule of thumb is that Iran will do as much as they can get away with. They'll do as much as they can get away with. And it's not just Iran. It's everyone. Pretty much everyone and everything will do as much as they can get away with. Kids will push the limits. Kids will do about as much as they can get away with. A young baby will hit like an 8-month-old, maybe a little older than that, maybe 12, on the changing table will hit mom unless they are stopped with a firm no. Like, no, you can't do that. Like a boundary needs to be set with young kids. Boundaries need to be set with toddlers, with teenagers, right? But every kid will just do as much as they can get away with. And sometimes on the flip side, they'll only do as many good things as they need to. And that's it. They'll just do the bare minimum. Employees will often do just the bare minimum. That's why we had this whole thing called silent quitting. Right? I don't know if that's still a thing or not, but that was a whole silent quitting. I'm just doing the bare minimum. Criminals will do as much as they can get away with, and that's it. That's why I'm a bit more worried about squatters than other crimes right now, because even if a squatter is found squatting, and even if they do get kicked out, there's no penalty. It's not like they go to jail after that. They just leave and they go somewhere else and do it again, right? But criminals in general, criminals will do as much as they get away with. And my point is, I think that's true with Iran as well. They'll just do as much as they can get away with. And then they do something, they get away with it, they just keep pushing it, and keep pushing it. This was leaked from the White House to NBC News. There's concern among the top U.S. officials that Israel could respond quickly to Iran's attacks without thinking through the potential fallout, according to a senior administration official and a senior defense official. So Iran attacks Israel, and the White House's immediate response is, Israel better not retaliate. Hey, Israel, you better not. Don't do anything stupid now. And that's always this administration's reaction to Israel. No matter what people do to Israel, the Biden administration always says, whoa, Israel, hold. You got to take it. You always have to take it. And that's just like a pretty close example of the Norm Macdonald tweet when he said, what terrifies me is if ISIS were to detonate a nuclear device and kill 50 million Americans, imagine the backlash against peaceful Muslims. My goodness, the backlash against peaceful Muslims would just be horrific. And you say that, Iran attacked Israel. Oh, it's just horrible. Imagine the backlash that this will cause against Iran. Oh, it's awful. Oh, these terrorists, Hamas terrorists, killed 1,200 Jews in Israel. Oh, the backlash. Oh, my goodness. The backlash that this will cause against innocent Gazans. Oh, think of the backlash.